Hello, everybody. It is November 11th, 2025, and I'm about 10 minutes late, and I'll wait for people to come in. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. I apologize for being about 10 minutes late. I was in the Cats building, and I had 10 minutes left to start the live stream. And how you doing, Fred, Nick, con artist? Welcome, City of Fullerton. Welcome, welcome. It's November 1st. I cannot believe it's November already. There's a lot of stuff going on in the news. Yeah, all those gang stalking cops, they're all getting arrested. So many people getting arrested now. It's about time. It's about time. And somebody left a comment that they have to start arresting some people because the gang stalking, that so many people are coming out talking about it. Yeah, there's more. That's just the one from Richard Moore, USA GSA, because he lives in Mississippi. So that was big news yesterday, and he created that short. I actually watched the longer news video of it. I sent it to him this morning. I mean, I'm sure he knew about it already, but he texted me the hi, Battle for Your Brain, welcome, welcome. He texted me the short and he said to share it. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you come in, guys. It's only it's only there's another ring. 117 people were arrested, and I can't talk too much about it. The kiddos, they were trafficking the kiddos, and they arrested 117 people. Cash Patel. This was about 7 hours ago. Cash Patel came on and was talking about this ring that they interrupted right before Halloween. That they had been following these groups for the last few weeks, and they hi Brittany, welcome, and they caught them right before Halloween. They were setting these people up, on the internet. So you've got the predators out there, and the cops were posing. They were creating profiles online, pretending to be 15, pretending to be 12, pretending to be 10 or whatever. And then these perverts, these perverts were text messaging them and stuff. And then they would set up meetings with these alleged, kiddos that were basically undercover cops, and they were nabbing them. So they caught 117 of them. And that was in the news just recently. I'm sure there'll be more. The civil rights lawyer here on YouTube, he highlights a lot of the cop auditors and stuff like that. Well, because of his videos going viral, he's had a lot of cops fired. Some of them went to jail. Everyone's been studying up on wireless neuromodulation, digital twins, and the AI neural signal decoding breakthroughs. It's scary stuff. I have to tell you. I start reading it and it makes me ill. I want to go back to being my old naive stupid self. I want to be one of those people that I was like 15 years ago. Remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. Hi Walk, welcome. Hi 1 2. Yeah, there's so much stuff going on in the news. I know, we're too aware now. I was better off naive. Like my mother said after I moved here, she says, "What happened to my sweet daughter?" It's like I I I'm being tortured. Yeah, ignorance was bliss. I'd rather be ignorant. I'd rather be ignorant. Yeah, I could live without the tech to have a semblance of my old life. Yes. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I haven't been happy in a long time, Brittany says. It's tough. It's so difficult being a targeted person. Everybody is targeted to a certain degree, but what's happening to us in the privacy of our own homes is off the charts. My neighbors were a little toned down for this. Hi, Kevin. Welcome. A little toned down for Halloween. No dead animals yet. um, Maybe the funding is running out for certain little feats of theirs. Although I still have the invisible midgets, the invisible cloaked midgets on my property. Kevin, I haven't had a chance to read your articles yet, but I will. For those whom are Christian, God will sort this mess out very soon. Well, I think God is not selective. I think God is interested more in good people that speak the truth, that walk in the light. Yes, I believe in a creator as well. I'm not a religious person, by the way. I mean, I think I mentioned like when I was growing up, I was raised in a Roman Catholic home. My father and my mother was Jewish, but she pretended that she wasn't. She didn't like Judaism. So she converted to Catholicism. But in the Jewish faith, people say, "Oh, she will never be a Christian or Catholic." But my mother went to church and she made her communion and confirmation. She was baptized, all that stuff. Um, but half of my family was Jewish and half of them were Catholic. So, but we never had a Bible in the home. My parents were too busy working, and they actually never taught us anything about religion or politics, for that matter. There were two subjects that were sort of off. We weren't talking about it in our homes. So, as an adult, I knew nothing about politics or religion. And it was only after my divorce that I actually purchased the Bible. Exactly, Brittany. I always had a bad feeling about the priests. And my bad feeling was confirmed by an ex boyfriend of mine back in New Jersey. I started dating him like on and off and stuff. And he would tell me stories because he was an altar boy. And he would tell me stories about his friends. I'll just say his altar boy friends and the things that the priests would have them do. He would have them collect the money from the candles that were lit. When you go into the church and there are usually candles that you could light on behalf of somebody who's passed away and say a prayer or whatever. And he would have the altar boys collect that money and he would divvy up the money to the boys for other kinds of favors, if you know what I mean. I'm not going to say it. But I always suspected that my ex boyfriend, that it had happened to him too. But he had never admitted to it. But I just know that he was, you know, and that's what they did in the Catholic Church. So I never, I always had a bad feeling about the priests. Like even when would go into the confessional, and you have to say the Our Hail Marys and the Our Fathers and confess your sins. Like, oh yeah, I had a fight with my brother. Yeah, I know the poor boys. Yep, yeah, but that really was a thing, and we're talking like I'm in my 60s, so it was. This has been going on a long time. This is not something that's just happened. Hi, Urban Hillbilly, welcome, Nick, Brittany, con artist. I just want to make sure that I'm recognizing you guys. Let's see. Walk says my YouTube channel. I just missed that. 1 second. Walk says my YouTube won't allow me to watch the live. It's got an ad that won't play out, it just stuck, so I can't participate. Listen, and hopefully I can watch the video afterwards. I'm reading your words, Walk. I'm reading your words. But there's a lot of interference with my live streams because there's that creepy voice in the background. And some perp left a derogatory comment under last week's live stream that, oh, I just can't listen to it. It's triggering me. I said, well, don't listen to it if it's triggering you. I have no control over it. Hi, Mrs. Emerge 777. Welcome. I have no control over it. It's third party interference. These are my perpetrators interfering with my live stream. They interfere with my cameras too. These are the losers on the planet. Let's see. I get that voice and the stuff. No, oh no, you're not the only one hearing it. And in fact, I I didn't know what everybody was talking about. Like when the creepy voice started interfering, it usually was like a half an hour or an hour into the live stream. But now it's like as soon as the live stream starts, it's like that grumbly, mumbling, hi Brittany, like underneath everything. Like I just try to ignore it. But when I replay the live stream, I hear it. Like I'm not hearing what you're hearing. Conrad uses Firefox browser and uses the U block origin. It blocks all the ads. Do you guys get the same thing in your online dealings away from my channel? That's a good question. I mean, I know for a fact my criminals they're into everything. They're interfering with everything. Kevin says he does now. Nick doesn't. They fear us uniting. Of course they do. Of course they do. Because they want us isolated. Hi, Amy. Welcome. They want us isolated. They don't want us sharing information. They won't. They don't want us feeling good about what we're sharing. The fact that we live all over the world. Hi, Joe. Welcome. Welcome. Yes, yes. Joe says, good evening to all. May all be staying strong and doing as best as you can. It's a way of sharing and validating information. Because I know, I can only speak for myself, but back in New Jersey, when this stuff started happening to me, let's see, Nick says, since I started watching Lorraine, they amped up around me. I have that way about me. one of my ex-boyfriends said to me once, he said, there's something about you. He says, people are either going to absolutely love you or absolutely hate you. It's like, oh yeah, so you're such a nice boyfriend. Yeah, the isolation is the key to there's that song. You joined the TIA group on Facebook too. I don't get on Facebook too much. I don't like the Zuckerberg. Like, I remember Facebook when I really enjoyed the experience. I no longer enjoy the Facebook experience. Hi, River Bluff. Welcome. Oh, you never got on Facebook, Cheryl? Yeah, I've been on Facebook a long time. I'll get these reminders. They're like memories. And it'll be a memory from like 9 or 10 years ago, 12 years ago. So I really liked Facebook when I started. It was a good way of being in contact with, groups of friends and my family, sharing photos and stuff. And I went into Facebook. I got rid of, I don't know, I had like 1,500 friends or something. I only have like 600 left because I systematically got rid of so many people because they were basically people that I associated with because of my interests, but they weren't really friends. Like, we didn't have anything to do with each other. So, given the way these algorithms work, they want you to be associated with somebody. And of course, I don't know anything about half of these people or their background, what they're involved in. So, I deleted, I don't know, close to a thousand friends on Facebook. Got rid of all my photos of myself. Yes, the isolation cements the targeting, such as anchoring, neurolinguistic programming. It sets plausible excuse, no witnesses. Well, we have witnesses. We are a witness to each other. The fact that we share our videos, share testimony, share images, and the fact that if I post photos of something that happens to my body and other people chime in, yeah, that happens to me too. But so many people are fearful or embarrassed about sharing that information. But no, this stuff is really happening and it needs to be exposed. So I received an email from a targeted female, and she says, where'd she go here? She says, I have an idea. She says, I believe it would be a good idea to have all the TIs call their attorney general and tell them they want their names off the list immediately. If they get enough targeted people calling in, all their attorney generals, then they will know that the cat is out of the bag and that they will be held accountable. And a phone record is now documented. No more hiding. She said, just a thought. She said the chat tonight would be a great opportunity to put that out there. Tell them to search who is their federal district manager in charge of their safe neighborhood projects, the COPS program. So, okay, so thank you. So I told everybody here. And I don't know if any of you guys purchase, EMF shielding products, but Freya's Cat Rescue, my cat rescue, has a partnership with Redemption Shield. I'll just leave the link there that you can get a discount, and they give us a little discount too. Let's see. Cheryl just got on X. Oh, you were never on Twitter? I know. The 50. I know. I know. You know what it is? It's too much information. When I get onto X, I could be on there for a long time, so I don't get on there unless I have to post something for the cat rescue. Hi, Linda. Welcome. Welcome. Oh, you bought a hat. Oh, well, good. Welcome. Yeah, I appreciate when people send me links to articles on X, but I do not get on there. Unless somebody sends me a link or unless I'm, posting something for the cats, I just don't get on there anymore. Twitter is something that I was on a lot like years ago, and the same thing with Pinterest. I like rarely get onto Pinterest anymore. I've had 3 EMF protection hacks they're called skull caps. I bought them from Less EMF and they've stolen all of them. There are a lot of targeted channels out there, gang stalking channels, and they talk about how, they come into your house and they only steal small purchase items and then they'll bring them back and then they'll move things around. But that's not necessarily so. They do take higher priced items and never return them. It is very tough, Brittany. It's tough mentally and emotionally. Absolutely. And physically. We don't really even know the level of damage that they've done to our bodies. I mean, I look at mine and it's not normal anymore. It's not my normal, healthy self anymore. It's definitely not the food I'm eating unless they're poisoning me. There was one targeted person that said that they were putting arsenic, little bit of arsenic. Oh, your copy of Soul Catcher vanished. Yeah, they do like to steal books. Well, in last week's chat, I don't remember who it was, um, mentioned the red cover book. Well, I went back into my videos, and it wasn't the Hidden Evil book, the black book with the red writing. It was another book, and I can't find it. Your River Bluff says, mine obviously don't read, so my books are safe. Well, they steal everything from me. I'm not. Well, this is what I think that they do with this. A lot of the things that they steal, they distribute it in the gang stalking community here, and then they probably sell them. They resell them. Hi, Mystery. They sell them. They probably have a secret account where all the things that they steal from me, they resell it and get some money. Sort of like the Jackson County PVA, little Bobby Edwards, who increased my property taxes by approximately $1,500 with no notification, no option to refute it, non-responsive to now FOIA requests, stonewalling, gaslighting. So I watched this short video yesterday. It was very short, and it was an ex-CIA guy, and he said, if you want to know when you're experiencing a psyop, all you have to do is listen for this one thing. You're talking about something, and the other person doesn't respond, does not engage in conversation, does not want to discuss it, stonewalls you. He said that's the sign of a psyop. Cheryl says, I had to go to jail. I still smoked cigs. They always confiscate your cigarettes in jail and call it cigarettes are contraband. Can you say that again? Yes. This is an ex-CIA guy on YouTube. It was a short. And he said, if you want to know when you're experiencing a psyop, Try to engage in a conversation with somebody about the problem, let's say. If they don't respond, hi KG, welcome. Oh, you do? You have it, KG? If you have the link, post it. Post it in the comment section here. And it was really short. It was it was a really short. It was like only like maybe 30 seconds. He said if you want to know you're engaging in a psyop, you want to have a conversation with somebody about the problem, the issue, and it's non-responsive. That's what you know you're engaging in a psyop, psychological operation, psyop. Yeah, so if anybody in the chat has a YouTube channel and you want to share the link to your YouTube channel, you can post it here. KG has a YouTube channel. She posts a lot of evidence of what she's experiencing there, the noise campaigns, the brighting stuff. Joe has a channel. Con Artist has good stuff. You have a lot of historical information on your channel. Battle for Your Brain. Also, Urban Hillbilly has a channel. Oh, good, River Bluff. Oh, I'm so glad. Terrific. So anybody who wants to share their testimony, share what they're experiencing, share who they think put them in the program, what is happening to them, what you're doing to help yourself, how long it's happening. You can email me at Alternative Homesteading. Oh, it won't copy, KG? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, I know, but that's the weird thing about posts is it's hard to remember where they're located and to share them. Yeah, so if you want to share your testimony, we can do it one of two ways. I prefer that you email me and write something out. There are some people that prefer it that way. I prefer it that way only because my time is so limited. There are some targeted people that I will speak to on the phone and record their testimony that way, but these are the people that I've known for a while and have already provided testimony because it takes up some time during my day that I don't always have. But when you email it to me, like if I'm up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which I am often doing, I can post it then, read it. I know. I wish it were set up differently too. Oh, you have to listen to this. The Institute for Justice fights for, the everyday person. Well, they got involved in a civil asset forfeiture case where, a senior man has a plane. I think it was in Alaska, because the only way to get around to certain areas is by plane. So one of his clients, he took shopping, and the people boarded up all of their groceries on his plane, and evidently they're being surveilled, right? So the plane gets pulled over, and the police come and confiscate everything because his customer purchased a couple of cases of beer. So not only did they confiscate the beer and the food and everything, but they confiscated his $65,000 or $95,000 airplane, and they won't give it back. Yeah. So the Institute for Justice got involved in claiming that the asset forfeiture doesn't fit the crime. And what was the crime? Carrying a couple of cases of beer on the plane. That stealing the plane doesn't fit the crime. This was in Alaska, I believe. There are some places where um, they can't drive, so they have to fly. So this elder man, this was his I would call it his taxi service, right? Yeah, evidently beer was illegal to be on the plane, but he did not know. He's the flyer of the plane. He picks up his client. He doesn't know what his client purchased at the grocery store. Yes, yes. So this has been an ongoing. This is going on for years. They confiscated this guy's plane. So yes. So the Institute for Justice is arguing that even in civil asset forfeiture, that the forfeiture has to fit the level of the crime. And this is the level of the crime was it wasn't a drug bust, it wasn't firearms, it was a couple of cases of beer, and the flyer of the plane had no idea there was even beer in their purchase. So yeah, so he got charged, the customer got charged, and they stole his plane. So he hasn't been able to earn a living. Yeah, they see through the bag, through the wall. Yeah, you know what? They probably watched at the store the customer packing up the six pack and followed the customer to the plane and just do what they do. They're thieves. They're thieves. I mean, it just baffles the mind. So yeah, so that's an interesting case. And then the Institute for Justice won a case against the FBI for another civil asset forfeiture. They went into those boxes that, what are they called? Safe deposit boxes. People were leaving their coins in there, their wills and stuff. Oh, the FBI goes in and claiming they're investigating something, and they just wipe clean all the boxes, steal antique coins and stuff. But the Institute for Justice won that case against the FBI, and then the FBI had to return everything that they stole. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Linda. That's horrible. Yes, well, we don't know if the customer was an operator or not. You just never know. The thing about those incel gamers, Conrad, is that some of them are pretty smart. Like you listen to them, like they're really into uh these are the guys that know how to hack computers. Exactly. The same thing with the truckers. They have the IP address to the surveillance cameras and wait for someone to buy some beer. Yes, just like the stories I've heard about someone getting pulled over for speeding and they got several $1,000s on them to go purchase a car and they confiscate the money. Well, this happened to a vet. He was going cross country. I think it was to visit his daughter. And he had all the money he owns, and he just took it out of his bank account. And they pull him over and steal all his money. They pull over teenagers. Maybe they're wavering a little bit. They steal their cars. Oh, it's just off the charts. Just off the charts. And then they do it with your property taxes. I'm just wondering how much little Bobby Edwards, what his take on my property taxes is. Yeah, it's totally crooked. I bet he's getting a little kickback. Oh, he's charging me an extra $1,500. He's probably stealing 500 of it, giving the sheriff's office of 500, and then the county lawyer's probably getting his little share. And I just have to step away for a minute to go get my hot cocoa and dandelion root. Let's see. Oh, they're always cutting deals, I'm sure. Let's see, kind of related to 12 police that were caught. Just see it now. Some of them been squealing on there. Boys in blue. More interesting things to come, I bet. Well, yeah, and then Cash Patel was on like 7 hours ago about the 117 people that were confiscated in the kiddo ring. Cheryl says, "I can't wait, Connor. I'd love to see them do the perp walks." Yeah. Well, somebody sent me a video. It was a short video about Cash that he's compromised because he went to reach for his right ear as if he were hearing something there. Brittany says, "Sorry if you mentioned before, but when did you notice they were following you around?" If I don't know if you're talking to me. It started for me in New Jersey. When I lived in Manalapan, New Jersey, a home I lived in for 30 years as the original owner, I started seeing people following me around 2012. By 2015, there were way more people. They were doing U-turns in front of me, cutting me off, following me. And I actually got so pissed off that I followed this one biatch a really long distance, and she was driving so fast. I just finally stopped following her. Oh yes, 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 Urban Hillbilly. The Brian Coffrin link. Yes, absolutely. Well, hi Jules, welcome. Um, I lived in a 5 bedroom house in New Jersey, but there were apartments not too far from where I lived, and I would find cars coming out of that like location stalking me. They would follow me to when I was feeding the feral cats. Yes, they want you to become the aggressor. Don't do it. That's the trap. See, at the time that it started for me, I didn't really know what was going on. I just assumed it was the feral cat cartel because they had been harassing me. They were jealous. And I still believe that it may have been them. Or at least they became involved in my stalking. Yeah, that's a good point. Nick. That's right. Brian Coffrin, also known as Justin Carter. I'm not even sure which is his real name, Brian Coffrin or Justin Carter, but he was really good. He was the SIS whistleblower in Seattle. And in addition to the video that was just posted where he's speaking, I think I have either one or two other videos by him that are phenomenal. I believe I've heard that he's still alive, but after whistle blew, they were really targeting him badly. They took him out. No, Amy Mayer. No, Brian too is a different person. No, they're not the same person. Brian worked. I think he worked for DARPA or the Department of Defense. I think he worked for DOD. Brian too is not a private investigator. You're confusing him with someone else. I hope not. You know what ends up happening is these whistleblowers, these high level whistleblowers that worked for the companies, they get targeted very badly, and then their families get targeted. So they kind of back out. They disappear for a while. Yeah, Brian too. The last and David A is in contact with him. Yes, Brian too is DOD. Brian travels around a lot. The last I heard, he was in New Jersey, and I think it was for some medical reasons. But don't quote me on that. I don't know. I have not spoken to Brian. Brian has some really great information. You once got lost in town. I've lived my whole life, and it was the frequencies. I believe that. There were times in New Jersey, and this would happen suddenly, and I didn't realize I was targeted. I would drive at night to go pick up my daughter somewhere, and I would have no idea where I was because I became night blinded. Like I couldn't see in the dark. It was so bizarre, and it just would come on suddenly and then disappear. Like I knew the area like the back of my hands. I lived there for so long. Oh, Brian Coffin worked for Spectrum Intelligence. Yeah, it's SIS. I don't know what it stood for. Yeah, they mess with your electricity. They mess with anything that's plugged into outlets because they're constantly shorting and interfering with the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I feel bad for Brian. He is always searching for medical help, but New Jersey, he's in a good place because they've got some great facilities there. That's one thing I miss about New Jersey is there are so many doctors. They've got some of the best facilities there. Same thing for veterinarians. They have some really good veterinarians there. No, Brian too is not Justin Carter. Justin Carter and Brian Coffrin are the same person. But I couldn't tell you which one is his real name. I don't know. But I do have other videos on my channel of Brian Coffrin. Let me see if I could find it. Sometimes when I go to search, because I have low memory on this laptop and stuff, sometimes I get screwed up here. Let me see. Yeah, so the video, and let me just get this for those of you who have not seen this yet. And this is from Richard Moore. Let me post this. So the FBI charges 14 cops and 2 sheriffs in Mississippi drug sting. And let me see if I can find the other videos. Let's see. Okay, so I've got part 1 and 2. Brian Coffrin. This is from 2023. So that's part 1. And let me get part 2. Here's part 2. Yes, he was a security expert. Yes, it's over 6 years. It's about 6 years ago. I remember when I first realized what was happening to me was gang stalking. And when you do the research online and stuff, I came into the alleged community in 2017, March of 2017. The first thing I did was I contacted Ella Fraud. And yes, I'm going to call her Fraud because she's a fraud. So I contacted Ella because I wanted to provide my testimony. I wanted to get it out there. And then I realized that there were all these targeting groups and stuff, and people would start sharing the information about the whistleblowers, and Brian Coffrin was one of them. So Linda says, yes, it can be frequencies or gases. They somehow shoot into your living space. I've had lots of experience with both. Well, it depends on what kind of house you have or apartment. They can go into your vents. They can leave something inside of your house that could, I'll say, change form or ignite itself in high humidity, like in your bathroom. And they also spray like this aerosol. It's like a very perfumey aerosol. It's a neurotoxin. They used to spray it on my porch in New Jersey, and then ironically, the same odor they spray on my property here. It's exactly the same thing. So it has to be a poison of some kind. Oh, he came from a family of intelligence. He thought he'd be targeting criminals. This program's got to stop. It's really off the charts. It's absolutely off the charts absurd. I'm going to post a link to a book that I read a portion of, which is a really interesting book. It's called Gang Stalking and Psychic Possession, Servants of the Master Builders of Illusion by Eliza M. Parr. Jules says, my family has outcast me as a black sheep for trying to have some self-respect after my whole life of people pleasing. Well, that's very common because you've grown and you've come to learn what your family dynamics are about. And now you've created boundaries for yourself. And the people who have been overstepping and violating your boundaries your entire life are not able to do that anymore. So they're pissed off. So that means you need to let go of them because they're not helpful to you anymore. Conrad says, in terms of enemies of the state, it's not criminals the state target. It's individuals with free thinking minds and not brainwashed critical thinkers and God-fearing people. That's true. Their brains are the enemy. Well, it's true because they will not change. They do not possess the ability to feel empathy, which is part of being human. So they're basically not human. They are lacking the characteristics of what it takes to be a human, which is why they don't care if they replace us all with robots. You know? Jules says, my brother called me just before and said our stepdad is a narcissist and he found all kinds of things on his computer smearing me and him. Well, don't take it personally. Don't take it personally. You know, these narcissists, they have to unleash their hatred onto someone. Hi, Max and Miles. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, some of the stuff is ridiculous. That exactly. Narcissists project who they are onto their victims, and they despise the empathy. They look at it as a weakness to be exploited. Yes. The 100% lack of empathy, compassion, and natural affection. This describes Freemasons, Jesuits, and Templars to a T. Yep. Amy says, how do you figure they were blowing something through your HVAC? Um, I don't know if they were doing it in New Jersey, but what I would find in my vents was a substance that was placed there. And I was constantly having to clean my vents and also my air filters that I would normally only have to replace every 3 months. I was having to replace them every month, and they would be black. So Linda says, yes, Lorraine, I've had the perfume smell a number of times, and once in my car when I was on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. I think you're right. It's not only a neurotoxin, it intensifies the frequencies. Yeah, there is something about it, and I don't like the odor. And now, if I smell it on my property, I'll just cover my face, so I don't have to inhale it. I didn't really know what it was in New Jersey. I just knew that it was bizarre. I just figured it was my neighbor Steve spraying something on my, on my porch, because he would hop on my porch all the time. But other people, other targeted people, have said that they have experienced some odorous things or chemicals in their HVAC. I don't have HVAC in this house. It's like a small cabin, so I don't have any vents. So back in 2000 and back in 2023, I read just a little bit about the book Guinea Pigs Technologies of Control by John Hall. So I'll post the link in the comments section here. Hi, Vivian. Welcome. Welcome. That's right. Thank you, KG, for the reminder. Yes, we fall back. We gain an hour. It really going to screw up my animals. They're going to be all freaked out. It's horrible when family members are involved. It's such a betrayal. So then there's this one where I read a little bit more of this book. Let's see here. Hi, Targeted Patton. Welcome. You've been trying to get your mom to watch some of my videos because I know she's going through more than she'll admit. Her ex is the head of the local Masonic. Oh my goodness. I feel so bad. That's horrible. I have a video that explains, like, to parents what is happening. Let me just locate the video because that should help. 1 second, let me just do this here. It's a parent's guide, so here it is. This is a short video. It's like only 9 minutes long, a little over 9 minutes. Yeah, I found that. I mean, I realized that my cousin is involved. My brother is targeted, but he's involved also. Amy says the test is to keep our authenticity and integrity. The Master Masons are in the know, so yes, he'll know about it. Oh, you keep losing the chat? I'm sorry to hear that, Urban Hillbilly. That could be on your end. Here's here is a 15-minute video on the Freemasons. Sorry to Pat says he was my stepdad basically, and he owns the house next door. He's still bitter about their separation that happened 15 years ago. Oh, he needs to get over it. That's absolutely true, Cheryl. It says your family members will go against each other in the end, and lo and behold, yes. Yeah, we're the ones who their mind control does not work on. Yeah, it's such a betrayal when a family member, like, it doesn't even matter like if you are close to the family member, it's just the fact that they're part of your family, and family's supposed to be supportive. It's just a betrayal. And you have to wonder what was said to them, who approached them, what they're getting out of it. They may just, in the end, just have hi battle, welcome, been jealous, envious or jealous, and this was the perfect opportunity to unleash that pent up envy and jealousy. Let's see, I bought the book on Kindle. I need to get the actual book. Eliza Parr, yes. It's a very interesting book. She has a different perspective on it than other people do, and she has noticed like people shape shifting, and you can see it in the video, in the photos that she's got in the book. It's black and white. Let's see, Battle says, the lady next door to me, she's going to be 75. She's definitely a perp. LOL. She showed me pictures of her phone over the fence yesterday of her standing with cops being awarded an honorary badge. Yeah, it's one of those fake badges that the sheriff's departments have. They give out to the little lackeys in the neighborhood. Makes them feel important. Linda asks the question, does anybody else feel like it has all become just one big continuous psyop at this point? It is absolutely. It absolutely is. You know, when adults are engaged in this and they know they're involved, they know what they're doing. But when they're in like an official position, whether it's an attorney general, a county lawyer, the PVA office, the fact that they don't engage with the individual in the community when they're doing something wrong, when they're in a position, they're placed in that position to actually perform a duty, a service, and then they don't, they need to be removed. Matson asks, has anyone wondered about their main harassers and the way they seem to do impossible things that have no grounded explanation? Well, I think that most of what they do mean it doesn't really mean anything to us. They think it means something to us. It's what they are. Like when they start burning Illuminati eyes on the side of my buildings, it doesn't mean anything to me other than that this is what they're doing. This is who they are. They're just telling me who they are. It's not a psychological operation. It's obvious. Nobody can say that they don't see the burn marks on the side of the building. But I'm the only one that's here. You know, unless I share those, share the photos online. Amy says, I shared your video with my 3 kids. I felt they need to know. I took the first neuroscience class at West Point as a cadet. I was one of 6 and the only science major. The other 5 were psych majors. Well, that's wonderful. I mean, these videos are actually, really important. Even if we were not targeted people, this is information everybody needs to know. Let's see. Speaking of shapeshifting, here's a video where Senator McCain saw General Petria shapeshift. Oh, I'll have to check that out. It was how the Egyptians saw God. Let's see. I don't know if anybody has followed the case of a targeted woman. I'm going to say she was a targeted woman named Sonia Massey, Massey, eating a crap ton of real butter and lots of salt. I do that, KG. I didn't when I was in New Jersey, but I feel the need here for some reason. I think it has to do with the fat in the butter. You have chemicals sprayed on your walls. They poison all my holly shrubs. Killed 3 trees that were right in front of my bedroom. This happened the first 6 months of my moving. I believe that. Yep. Canada says many TIs are not aware of how much ancient Egypt is connected to our targeting and the gang stalking program as a whole. Battle says, I did a live stream right before I came on here. Please watch it. Why don't you leave a link here, Battle? You can leave the link here, Battle. Battle says, I did a live stream before I came on here. Please watch it, y'all. I'm going to take it off private, but it hasn't loaded yet. Gotcha. Okay. Yes, the butter is very healthy fat, and we need a ton of it. Yes, we do. Connor says, in terms of research, many TIs are not interested in studying ancient history, therefore lacking integral knowledge of our targeting today. Well, Connor, your channel has a wealth of information. I don't always have time to sit down and listen to it, but it's amazing information you've got there. Why don't you post a link to your channel here? And Cheryl says they poisoned and killed a huge tree out of my bedroom. Must have been 200 years old. Evidently was protecting me from their dues. So Amy wants to know, how is ancient Egypt connected to us? These perps are so cold-blooded, it makes me wonder if they're actually human. Well, the Eye of Horus is that Illuminati symbol. And you can see this in the ancient Egyptian, I don't know, they're called the paintings and stuff that were on the walls. It says, I've met some living personalities unlike any I've known before. I asked to take a photo and talk to it for a while. He let me get it and showed up twice again with 2 others staring while I spoke. Please, if you have a YouTube channel, leave the link here so that we can support each other. Yeah, what they do with my food is they mold it, they rot it, they poke it. I find holes in my food, scratches on the food, X's on the food. Let's see, Egypt is connected through the current bloodlines of the world rulers. Now, I post a lot about our history from World War I to now. Bakan does it way before that. Battle says the Egyptians believed that the all seeing eye was God, creator of the universe. Is it any wonder it's a triangle on the capstone of a pyramid triangle? Okay, so KG posted the link to her channel. I'm already subscribed. So everybody subscribe to KG's channel. The fat in the butter helps keep the gray matter out of the brain. Keeps the gray matter in the brain lubricated and healthy. A Battle just subbed to you, KG. That's good. There is a lot of disinformation online, something to be aware of. Yes, and there are a lot of people popping up that they're talking about gang stalking, and I cannot confirm whether or not somebody is or isn't a targeted person sometimes, but as long as they're providing useful and valid information, I don't really care. Um, everybody needs to get the message out there, and sometimes if somebody's talking about gang stalking and targeting and they're not targeted now, or maybe they were somewhat targeted in the past, and they're providing a good presentation that is useful, it doesn't matter. Like I had somebody comment to me that somebody that I'm subscribed to, I'm not going to mention the name, is not a targeted person, and was angry that like I would even discuss it. It's nobody's business. They absolutely mess with the food. I've got some of the weirdest stuff that they've done to my food. Jordan Maxwell, William Cooper. Wait, William Cooper. Is William Cooper a journalist? KG says, I think they use them to disclose just enough to make it look like a conspiracy. It's important we don't get fooled on these our locks. Yes, you get a lot of sick people saying a target is not a target just because they think so. Well, and I've mentioned this before, that a person who's been targeted for a year or two or three is not going to experience the same thing as somebody who's been targeted for 15 years. Because there's a progression. People are targeted for different reasons. It feels different at different ages. So, like for me, I'm in my 60s. And a targeted person in their 20s and 30s, it has a different perspective on targeting, period. They're experiencing their targeting differently, and they may view my targeting as not being targeted because of their limited, I'm just going to say limited life experiences. It's not good or bad or whatever, but I remember when I first came into the community in 2017, and I would get on those calls and listen to people talking about their targeting. I thought some of it sounded so off the charts, like it was almost unbelievable. But I heard in their voices that it actually was true, even though it wasn't happening to me. I mean, some of it is happening to me now. But just because somebody is not experiencing what you are doesn't mean that they're not a targeted person. This is not a competition, for sure. Everybody experiences it differently. Everybody has different personality types. different ages. Like, I feel so bad for the young people that are targeted because they don't have the life experience to deal with things emotionally. Now, was William Cooper, is was he a journalist? There was a journalist from a long time ago who ended up targeted. I was a radio show host. Okay, he wrote a book called Pale Horse. Writer. There was a journalist, and I don't, but the name William Cooper sounds like it could be the same person who would, he was an investigative journalist, and he would go into the prisons and interview the prisoners. And then he became targeted. He disappeared. And then he came back on YouTube and talked about his targeting. He looked like a different person. I don't know if that's who it is. Targeted Patent says if anyone needs a break from the targeting and wants to laugh at some perps, I just put out 2 hit piece video on Jimmy the Patent perp that will brighten the day of any TI who watches them. If you have a link, you can leave it in the comments section. Well, when I lost the internet this week for almost 3 days, it gave me the opportunity. Bill Cooper was William Cooper, not sure about the guy who went into prisons. I don't know why, but it sounds like it could have been him. He was really good. So I started reading this book, Camelio, A Strange but True Story of Invisible Spies, Heroin Addiction, and Homeland Security by Robert Guffey. And there are some gems in this book. Just some gems. It's like he's telling the story about the life experiences of his friends. And through the storytelling, he discusses a lot of his experiences. This guy, Dion Fuller, and Dion Fuller is targeted. And he's the one who uncovered all these invisible midgets, these cloaked people, and that there has been people steal military equipment. And that's why, like, some of us may be targeted. Our neighbors could possibly even have stolen military equipment. We wouldn't know it. Like on page 23 of the book, it says, you see, every year the government gives us a certain amount of money, and if we don't spend it, then they'll take it away from us next year. So we have to figure out a way to spend it. We don't really need an English tutor, but we don't have much of a demand for one. So pretty much no one's going to come in. You can just sit in the back room and do your homework, etc. So it has to do with the reason they are following you. Oh, you tried to put it in the chat, but it got, really? It got censored. I wonder if there's a word in there, because KG was able to post her link. There could be a word that's being censored. So a lot of the reasons why people become stalked in the program is because they have money that needs to be spent. If they don't spend the money, they're not going to receive it next year. So they keep conjuring up reasons to get more money, but they have to prove that they're using the money. So they're targeting people, but they're doing it for sadistic pleasure. Oh, because you're a moderator. Oh, I see. You can post anything. So let me okay. Okay, so targeted patent. If you go to his channel, he's got a couple of videos that he just posted. Targeted patent. Oh, I didn't realize that. Thank you for letting me know, KG, that only the moderators and myself can post links. You have that comment held, turn on, Lorraine. What comment held? Let me see. Let me see how, if there's something that I could do. Let's see if I do this. See, I had the moderation activity was on off, then I turned it on, now I turned it off again. Oh, don't change it. You'll unblock. Okay, got you. Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you, KG. So there was something else that I wanted to read here. Okay, so what this author was saying about his friends, because he's known this guy for such a long time. He said, quite frankly, he looked more like the photos I've seen of people suffering from slow radiation poisoning. He told me he often had a metallic taste in his mouth. From my discussions with Walter Boart, I learned was a common side effect of intense bombardments of electromagnetic radiation. Lately, Dion has been complaining about high-pitched noises that would emerge from nowhere in the middle of the night, inducing migraines and vomiting. What were these people doing to him? Break him down or kill him? Perhaps both. I'm just reading from a book, YouTube. I'm reading from a book. This is for educational purposes only. So these high-pitched noises would emerge from nowhere in the middle of the night, inducing migraines and vomiting. What were these people trying to do to him? Break him down, kill him? Perhaps a little of both. By this point, I think Lita and her goons were so stunned that he was still alive that they just wanted to see how much more he could take before he escaped the maze or passed away. Walter Boart also turned me on to a corporation called the American Technology Corporation, located at 13114 Evening Creek Drive in San Diego. They specialize in high intensity directed acoustics, according to Marshall Stella of the New York Times in 2003. They say directional sound is an offshoot of HSS, but one that never transmits handle or waterfall sounds. Although the technology thus far has been routinely referred to as non-lethal weapons, the Pentagon now refers to stress the friendlier sounding hailing intruders function. In reality, this high intensity directional acoustics, which is HIDA, is both a warning and a weapon. If used from a battleship, it can ward off stray crafts 500 yards with a pinpointed verbal warning. Should the offending vessel continue to within 200 yards, the stern warnings are replaced by a 120 decibel sounds that are physically disabling as shrapnel. Certain noises projected at the right pitch can incapacitate even a stone deaf terrorist. The bones in your head are brutalized by a tone's full effect, whether you're clutching the sides of your skull in agony or not. Now, what came to mind is when they're talking about this equipment. Oh, thank you for posting that, KG. Targeted Patents channel. Thank you. Is that they're experimenting with these weapons in the ocean. Could you imagine what this is doing to the whales and the dolphins and etc.? Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. So, Con Artist channel is posted in the comment section. Jimmy Part 2 is in the comment section. Targeted Patents link is in the comment section now. So con artist handle here is con artist underscore NZ. And the battles channel. Thank you, KG. Thanks so much. Let's see. My TI friend says her perp friend is using witchcraft to open portals on her rural property in Adelaide, Australia. Yeah, these witches, these people are sick. Let me tell you. Oh, thank you, Joe. So Joe posted his link in the comment section. Your friend in Australia gets a lot of demonic targeting. I do as well. So I feel her pain. It's ridiculous. Let's see. They broke out space in the basement floor, cut out parquet squares in the bedroom. I don't know if they dug much, but they dug. I could not see anything but obvious patches on a new floor. That's so heartbreaking. Cheryl's asking a question. What do you all think about people saying it's all spiritual, and if you stop sinning, you will stop being targeted? Oh, that's bullshit. I think that's BS. I don't smoke, drink, or do drugs. Um, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter because whatever it is, whoever you are, they're demonizing whomever you are. So it's irrelevant. That's the SRA proceeds the targeting programs and is used on TIs. Good night, Amy. Yeah, it's almost midnight. They are demons, not sinner. Let's see. Hi, Ephesians. Welcome. It does not work, and it isn't possible for a human to not sin. I think that's probably true. I mean, we all do things. Um, we all do things that are not in our best interests. We all get angry sometimes. Let's see. Cheryl says, I couldn't imagine what Lorraine is doing since she doesn't smoke. Maybe because I watch a few tarot readers and Vedic astrology. Good night, Amy. Yeah, I'm going to be signing off in 5 minutes. So if anybody wants to post any links or leave them now. Thank you everybody for joining in and for all the good conversations. And thank you KG moderators for helping out and posting the links. I didn't realize that it was only the moderators and myself that could post the link. So remember to put your clocks back. So we're all going to get an extra hour of sleep, maybe. Get an extra hour of sleep. Oh, Linda wants to know, River Bluffs, do you have a link to your channel? And Ephesians says, we sin in our thoughts and hearts, even when we try our best. They will always try to find a way to attack what you're doing. Matson says, I also had a video of 2 coming up through the earth. I could tell you that you can see through the veil with the help of the veil over the lenses. Joe says Ted Gunderson's affidavit about gang stalking should have been enough for it to get recognized. He was the head of the FBI at one time, for goodness sakes. He tried to expose it, but the evil's in charge at the moment. When demons are around, you know it. The Bible says, get behind me, Satan, in Jesus' name. The demon will flee. I know. Yeah, Ted Gunderson stuff came out 20 years ago. I think that, regular people, unless it's in their face, unless it's being recommended on YouTube, it's not something they would normally click on. Madison says, I thought I figured out something new. I have discovered so many things lately, it blew my mind. Yeah, that's a good point, KG. There's a huge difference in dealing with an actual demon versus the technology. Patton says, I advise people to check out Cebra, Cebra, to see what they're openly doing with AI and our biometric data. What they've already accomplished is eye opening, no pun intended. Even Satan listened to God's instructions when dealing with Job. Satan was not to take Job's life, and Satan listened and adhered to God's rule. Zebra. Is Zebra the name of a company? Zebra. Okay, it's the name of a company. Let me see if I can find it here. I type in zebra in the search here, and I'm getting all these zebras instead of a zebra. Is this it? Zebra NAR Environmental Biosecurity Beyond the Matrix. I don't know. I'll have to do a little research on it. Nicotine blocks these lab-made viruses. Let's see. I read that LinkedIn is going to submit all of our info to AI. I'm not on LinkedIn much anymore. That was another platform that I would be on frequently. My bio is still there, but I'm not posting, so it wouldn't necessarily populate often. KG says, I prayed a ton about quitting smoking and I always get the same answer. It's a plant. Like a green plant. Well, that's a good justification. It's a plant. Ephesians said, KG, if they're condemning you for smoking, it probably bothers them more than anyone else. Well, you know what I've experienced? Like a lot of these people, they're smoking. Because when I go to clean up my property, I find cigarette butts, and they don't belong to me. So these people are smoking. They're the smokers, the druggers. They're drinking disgusting soda pop, leaving the soda pop bottles everywhere. It took you 20 years to give up smoking, been smoke free. Oh, congratulations. My father was a smoker, big smoker. I couldn't stand the cigarette smoke. When Linda says, we'll be seeing a lot more things as God continues to lift veils. A friend of mine sent me a photo of a mutual acquaintance who had slits for pupils in the photo. Knew he was a perp, but wow. Yes, they all smoke. They're all smokers. Well, everybody, it's just a little bit after midnight, and thank you all for joining in the chat and for all of your links. Thank you for posting links and all of the good information you provide for supporting the channel, etc. I hope everybody's going to have a good night, and I'm going to go watch some of your videos. Yeah, well, I'm not going to go to sleep just yet. I have to check on the cats. And while I've been here, I hear some rumbling on my porch. I think there's like a bunch of raccoons out there. Well, good evening. Good evening. Yeah, Cheryl says when she was a little girl, both her mom and dad smoked. Yeah, with the windows rolled up in the car. That's horrible. Yeah. Well, you're so welcome, Cheryl. Thank you, Battle. Thank you, Amy. Thank you so much, Con Artist and KG and Patton and Vivian, River Bluff. Thank you, everybody for joining in. So I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, and remember, you get an extra hour. I think it's at 2 o'clock in the morning. The clocks get set back. Okay. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna try to go live right now and see if you could figure out this tab. A good idea, KG. I'll check it out. I'll probably receive a notification. Okay, good night, everybody. I'm going to end the live stream now.